If you've struggled with stress, balance, or burnout, and simply feel discouraged or even defeated, and if you're ready to move from force to flow and enjoy ultimate Zen success in your career, health, or relationships, then the Zen Success Show is for you. Your host, Carissa Sims, is an entrepreneur, corporate consultant, best-selling author, meditation teacher, and healer who has found her own Zen success. Here's your host, Carissa Sims.
Welcome to this week's episode of Zen Success. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Lisa Geraci Rigoni. Hi, Lisa.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm thrilled.
Well, I'm so happy to speak with you. Lisa is the #1 best-selling author of 17 Spatulas and The Man Who Fried an Egg. And she is the owner and CDO, that's Chief Declutter Officer of the Organizing Mentors, TOM, and has been helping her clients reclaim their space mentally and physically since 2008. That's wonderful. So they serve various organizing services, including sorting, purging, estate cleanout, packing, unpacking, selling, donating, etc. So Tom holds the esteemed credential of a certified senior move manager with the National Association of Senior and Specialty Move Managers. That's so wonderful. You know, I'm an occupational therapist, so I've worked with the elderly population, and it's just wonderful that you're able to help them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were going a different way. I think it's just wonderful working with the senior population.
Yeah.
Because they've given so much to us, and their lives are like the last 50 years, right? If you think about it, some of them have been living in their houses and they want to age in place, which is probably what you help, a lot of people do. It's hard. It's difficult for them.
Yeah. I mean, not anymore, but I worked in hospitals, but it's just incredible to be able to give back that way. Well, beyond organizing spaces, Lisa and her team mentors guide clients to implement best practices to inspire confidence in making positive choices that enrich their lives and set them free from the habits that have kept their minds and spaces cluttered. Lisa is a sought-after keynote speaker about her book, The Secrets to Finding Your Organizing Style and Teaching, and mentoring her proprietary system. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a long bio. Sorry.
Yeah, but that's okay. We've got plenty of time.
Good.
What is the system that you use? The LITL,
LITL System. So thank you for asking, because that actually I'll give you a couple examples there. It's in my book. I lay it out, but the easiest way to explain it is the name of my company when I first started in 2008 was Leave It to Lisa. And I myself have, you got it already. I myself have ADD, and I love acronyms. That's how I learn. That's how I remember things. I'll make up silly words through the acronyms, or just for my memory, for it to sit and sit well with me. So Leave It to Lisa is LITL. And when I first saw that, I said, I have to use that somehow, right? We help our clients declutter a little, they get a little calmer, we remove a little of their stress, that sort of thing. So when I began teaching and hiring people, what's your system? Like, what do you do? Because not everyone is good at everything. And that's why I have a business, because, a lot of people are not good at mentoring, at organizing. So we mentor them, it's kind of like what you do, take people through what works for you, what doesn't work for you. So that's how we start. We start with L is the first step, let it go. And those are the
Let it
things,
go.
let it go. Those are the things you know you don't want. The initial no, you don't want. So say you're in someone's closet. Well, first of all, people are, I want everything. Well, why did you call us? There has to be something,
Yeah.
that's going on. And sometimes it's letting go of just control or the
Mm-hmm.
guilt of holding on to things or not
Yeah.
wanting things. And that's kind of what the summary of my book is why we hold on to stuff, asking the questions why. And it's
Right.
usually, it's not because we're lazy. And I even say that on the back of the book. It's because, well, it's fine. We're not moving. Everything's
Mhm.
okay. We don't want to look at it. People, whenever I'm on Zoom, they look at the back of my shelf and they're like, oh, you got a kind of cluttered space back there. I said, no, it's not. It's everything that I want to be. I have a limited space. So, it goes around here with all my
Yeah.
books. So this
Uh-huh.
is all things that I look at every day. And like my brother made me that,
Uh-huh.
and it's all
Things that
perspective.
are meaningful to you.
Yeah,
Right.
it doesn't clutter my mind, which is my
Yeah.
tagline, reclaim your space mentally and physically, because that's what I think. Well, that's how I think we're very cluttered mentally because we have a
Mm.
lot going on in our lives. We don't take time for ourselves. I mean, I do a meditation in the morning, at night. I
Mm-hmm.
try to eat well, I try to exercise, but that's the first thing to go, right? Oh, well,
Ah.
I have to go early to a meeting. Well, I won't work out. But, it's
Mm.
always that. So anyway, I'm on a little tangent there, but
Yeah. But
so
I
let
wanted
it
to go
go.
back to the
Yeah.
letting go.
Yeah.
That, Marie Kondo, she has
Hmm.
that. Does it bring you joy? She
Right.
has a Netflix special.
Yes.
And I think that now that's a whole nother level,
It,
it's another question to ask.
it
So, and
is.
it's not necessarily your process, but I think it's just curious,
Well, we do
because it's
ask,
important.
if
Okay.
you if it doesn't have to necessarily bring you joy, right? A lot of people,
Hmm.
there's, the big joke, I got rid of my gym membership and my treadmill and my, this and that because they don't bring me joy. Well, there's things that you have to keep in your life because you need them. I joke, my toilet plunger doesn't bring me joy, but when I need it, it's there. So it doesn't have to necessarily spark joy, but it has to, for
Have a
me, right? My
use.
clients, yeah, or you have a positive memory of it. I talk a lot
Okay.
about, say, I'm just going to grab something, this rock that I had at a convention. I use it when I just want to feel powerful, right? Now, is this useful? Do I need this? No, but it has a good memory. So if I had picked this up, say, on a vacation that my mom passed away, every time I saw this rock, it would bring me grief. It would bring me it wouldn't spark
Mm.
joy, right? So think of why you're holding on to it. Some people might hold on to that because it reminds them of their mom. For me, every time I'd see it, it would remind me that my mom's died. Right. So those are the questions you have to ask. And that's what the I is. That's intentional. For
Intention. Okay.
intentional.
So you're
That
going to
is,
keep something. If you're going to keep something, it's intentional.
and
That's what
know
you mean.
why.
And know
I
why.
don't, it's intentional or even making a decision. Know why you're holding on to it. And if it's because it's a negative feeling and you still feel that guilt or you feel you still want to cry every time you see it, then just know why you're holding on to it. Right.
Hmm.
If I want to cry, I'll pick up the rock and think of my mom. Right. So there's a reason behind it. There's no judgment. I always say this, you can keep anything in your house that you want. We're not going to judge you. We're not going to say, oh, that's broken. And there are some organizers that do that. Why would you keep that? You haven't used that in 20 years. Well, I like it.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, they'll use
okay.
shame or judgment, saying like, okay, if something, oh, that's a feng shui
Mm-mm.
thing too.
It
I mean,
is a
not that
feng
you
shui,
do
right?
feng shui, but
We do
but
a little bit, and
sometimes a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah,
Okay.
a little bit but you
Yeah.
know what? And even not even being trained in it,
Hmm.
you know the feel of your room. You know when something's off, and my clients do also. Just tweaking a
Yeah.
furniture, just tweaking something. It's like, oh, it feels better in here.
Yeah.
Just removing some of that physical clutter that helps the mental clutter. So here, I'll
Yes.
give you an example because we work with a lot of therapists. We're not typical organizers, I think, because therapists reach out to us because of this extra layer of the mental clutter. Like anybody can come in and clear out a room, I think. You can come in and clear out a shelf and take a picture of it. Is that going to help the client? Maybe, but most of the clients that are gravitated towards me and my business are people that really need a helping hand, or they need a hand to hold, or a shoulder. I always say we're here to, shoulder to cry on, or an arm to punch, or to complain about, just we're there for you. So therapists reach out to us when their clients are struggling. And
Oh,
here,
interesting. And why is that? Why do you have that specific clientele? Do you have a way of helping them with their clients feel more
I
calm?
think so. I think so. And
Okay.
I was just at an event this morning, and I was talking about that because I do this thing called a show and tell when I work with therapists. And so I'll get the rock back. So someone brings this rock in. It's just sitting on my shelf. I don't know why I have it, and the therapist or I will ask if it's my client in the house, right? Well, where'd you get it? Well, I went on a trip with my mom. Oh, really? How was that? Where did you go? Da 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 da. Oh, it was so great. It was our first trip alone. Great. Oh, you want to keep this? Or, yeah, that was where she got really sick. And, when we got home, she passed away. This is not a true story. So what do you think? What do you feel when you see this? Well, it makes me feel really sad. That might be someone's response, or it makes me feel so happy because I remember when we were walking on the beach and I found this.
Yeah.
Right. So it really depends on your insight, and people, I mean, it's so cathartic going through things. The Man Who Fried an Egg, the story in my book, is a man who I worked with for 8 months. He was a hoarder, and a therapist referred him to me, or to somebody. And it took him a year to find me and trust somebody. And
Oh,
the
yeah.
stuff he went through emotionally was amazing. I mean, he was a different person when I left, and when,
Mm.
even after the first couple months. And I was too, because he helped me through some of it. He became like a brother to me. We were so close. Like, we're dealing with,
Mm.
I often say, sometimes we see our clients naked because they are showing us everything.
Yeah. It's very
Their
vulnerable.
fears. It's very
Right.
vulnerable.
Yeah, because it's
So
normally a secret, the clutter.
exactly, or even why you're holding on to something.
Right. The reason.
Sometimes
Right.
we don't even know. I say sometimes we keep
That's
secrets
true.
from ourselves. Well, that you think
Yeah.
that reminds you of your mom and your trip, but it might really remind you of that she's gone. So why are you
Mm.
keeping that?
Yeah. And
Why?
it's
If it
time.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
it's time.
and maybe, maybe it is.
Yeah.
So my husband and I are building a house, and yesterday we were looking at the front. We had options, right, to the front, and I'm sitting with my friend who's a realtor and my husband who could care less about the front of the house. So we're looking at all the little samples of, the siding and this and that.
And you get
And
to decide because he could
I get
care
to
less.
decide. But here's the cool thing. My friend who read my book and is a good friend of mine, I said, well, I don't like the blues. I don't like blue. I don't like this one. And she said, oh, you're using the little system. And I said, yes, I am. Because you start with stuff you don't want. You go to a restaurant, you go order a
Oh,
drink.
so that, yeah, you're trying to like
I
narrow
had
it
pasta
down.
yesterday. I don't want pasta today. Oh, fish, no. And steak, yuck. I don't want. So I think I'll have chicken. Then you
Mhm.
go to the chicken list and you say, well, do I want Parmigiana? Do you want this and that? You start with what you don't know. And then intentionally you say, oh, yeah, I'm going to have the chicken and broccoli. Intentional, right? And that's what you get. And because you've narrowed everything else out. And even in your closet. Well, that dress, God, I paid a ton of money for that, but I'm never going to wear it. I'm never going to fit into that one
Yeah.
again. Get rid of that. But it's intentional. You kind of have to ask the questions why. And then T
Mm.
is transform. You've transformed your space. You've transformed yourself
Oh,
because, hey, I didn't think I could get rid of anything. Pat on the back. You did. You made all the decisions. And now your closet's intentional. Everything in there is because you want it, or you're just like, I don't know yet. And
okay.
that's okay too. And then
Okay.
the final L is love it and live it, because you're loving the space you're in, or
Uh-huh.
the food you're eating, or the front of your house, or whatever
Yeah.
decision you made, and then you're living it. And this step we used to make any decision in our life, we use with every client. Where do we start? Well, what don't you want in the space? What don't you want to
Mm.
move forward if you're moving? What don't you want to pay to move? Are you going to buy something there? Or, whatever it is. So any decision in your life is the little system.
Interesting. And
Mhm.
so, what's happening with your house? Did you decide?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Finally decided. Finally decided. Yeah. But it was hard. It was one of those things. Well, I like this
Yeah.
color, but I'm not sure about that. And it's like,
So what's the color?
oh, it's kind of a taupe. It's three different colors, but it's kind of
Ooh.
a taupe. Kind of looks like the house we're in now. It's funny, you're gravitated towards the same
Yeah.
things all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, should I go totally different, like a burgundy house? Because I love earth colors and, it just makes me
Yeah.
feel strong and grounded. I'm like, yeah, I don't want a dark house. So, right, let it go. I put the burgundy on the side. Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
exciting. Hmm.
And what about the energy of colors? Do you ever get into that? Or you don't really when you're organizing?
No, not really. If
Okay.
clients like we will, if they want, like I like to color code my closet, right?
Okay.
Per the long pants, whatever the dresses, the shirts, the ties, the formal wear, and I'll ask my clients because not everybody likes that, right?
Mm,
And I'll say to my clients, you have permission to say no. If I have 7 organizers, if one of us suggests something and it doesn't work for you, say no. It has to work for you, and we're not going to take it personally, right? You're
mhm.
paying us, we're the experts. You're hiring us for advice, but it has to work for you. And I often say sometimes we come in as the second, third organizer that the person's worked with, and I'll say, well, what
Oh,
didn't work?
gee.
Yeah, because it's hard, and they didn't get rid of the mental clutter. They didn't ask the reasons why, or
Yeah.
they got rid of stuff that, oh, because you haven't used it in 5 years, get rid of it. And then
Hmm.
they're like, I need that. What's going
What
on?
happened? Yeah.
Right. But most of them say that is because they weren't kind. Like a lot of people just get rid of it because we want to take a picture for our website. I mean, my job is not about me. My job is about being there for my clients and seeing their ending and their transformation. So it gets a little risky, working with some people, but I always say it has to work for you. And they'll say,
Mm.
well, everything looked great, but we couldn't find anything. It didn't make sense. That's why a lot of people even say that after doing Marie Kondo all over their house.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't do it. I'm not going to roll my underwear every time I'm not going to roll. I'm not going to do this. And I would say, because she did a great thing for people in general for our business, because
Bringing
she
awareness to it,
bringing
right?
awareness, like everybody has clutter. I have clutter. We're
Hmm.
moving in 6, 8 months, and I have to go downstairs and declutter the storage room that we've just thrown things in. We
Mm.
probably still want most of it, but everybody has it. And that was the good, I think, from my business perspective, that's what she brought. Because normally people think, oh, everyone who has stuff are hoarders and they're disgusting and they're lazy and they have psychological problems. No, they don't. They don't. So, because all we've ever seen is the hoarder shows, or, whatever.
I've
And
never seen that show, but I
oh,
don't
I
really
have. I
watch
learned a
a
lot.
lot
I
of the
learned a lot
shows.
of what to do and what not to do when you're working with people.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that was her biggest thing. But the people that have worked with other organizers, it's because they didn't ask why. Why
I
do you
see.
want it? Why don't you want it? Not get rid of it and then it's gone.
Hmm. Interesting.
So it has to work for them. Like any mentor, you're a mentor, it has to be for the person. We
Hmm.
use the system, but it's specifically designed and the questions aren't always the same.
And what are some testimonials or transformations that you've had with your clients?
Oh my gosh. Well, in almost 20 years, there've been a lot. The man
Yeah.
who fried an egg was by far the hugest one because I worked with him the longest and
Uh-huh.
he came the farthest. I mean, he was a different person. He was
Mm.
just a different person, confidence and the grief he was holding on to. He was in a townhouse and never went upstairs because he had a traumatic breakup with his wife. His dog died. Like, it was a lot. So he didn't use his kitchen. He just he was brilliant man. Brilliant and just super smart. Like, the books, I always say the books on his shelves, I couldn't even pronounce. Like, they were just so ridiculous.
Was he a scientist or something?
He's a math guy.
Math.
And
Okay.
he was, I'm going to say this wrong, but it's something like he would code computers. Is that right? It's like something. And then he was an online like day trader, and I mean, anything money and anything numbers, and that's like as a person with ADD, like, oh, forget it, no numbers. Like, I'm glad I got through, arithmetic and algebra, and that was it.
Okay.
But he made the biggest transformation. But then there's clients that will have like one space and just
but what happened to him? So
well,
like you said, all the problems,
books.
like, what's his transformation? I want to know. Like, I had to read the book. Everybody read the book. So then give a different example then.
Okay.
Well, give a different example.
You said the biggest, and that was, maybe you didn't say that, but that
I just said, and it
share
touched
a my heart.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I think people, so here's an interesting one. I've worked with many women who have are chubby. Let's just say that, right? They like to eat, or because okay, so here's one example that I always use. Nobody wants to organize. It's hard, it's difficult, it's time consuming. We would much rather sit on the couch, eat some popcorn, drink some wine, and watch Netflix.
Or we're just busy.
No, exactly. But
it's related. Choose not to. Don't think.
Yeah.
Or don't think it's a priority. Yeah.
Exactly. And you have to work at it, just like anything else. So, and it's also an obsession. It's also a disorder, so there's eating disorders, alcoholism, there's hoarding, we want to zone out. So what's your drug of choice? Some people shop, some people drink, some people overshop, some people get rid of everything in their house because they don't want to have responsibility for anything. I think that's huge. So there was a couple women that I've worked with, people that I've worked with who, ate, just sat, and that was their thing. They're in their 50s, 60s. I mean, I'm 58, so I shouldn't say this, but we rearranged their cupboards. And even with little kids, we rearranged the cupboards so snacks and, the quick grab things weren't right eye level.
Oh.
So let's move them up, or let's move them down.
I love that.
Weight. Oh, yeah.
So you organized, so you realized they told you this was an issue with their family and themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, but because I've heard a lot of people just say, don't even buy it. I mean, don't even buy the junk food, but then you're just reorganizing it. So out of sight, out of mind. I love that.
Sort of out of sight, out of mind. I mean, if you really need it, you're going to find it. Right.
Yeah. You're going to buy it.
Yeah. So, but that was a couple ones. And then, just recently,
but wait a second. I want to know, like, the full transformation. Like, what happened? Were they happier? Did they lose weight? Were there better connections? Like, I really want to know the transformation.
That the biggest transformation, I think, per my 20 years is people taking control, not even taking control. That's not the word. Letting go of control. Because first of all, we don't want to ask for help. I don't. I'll do it. I'll push through it before I ask for help. And people don't want to ask for help for stuff if they're embarrassed, or they think people will judge them. So my first conversation with people, sometimes I say, I'm so proud of you for reaching out, because that was hard. And I'm sure they've Googled and they've picked up the phone and didn't leave a message. It is difficult. And then even after a first session, or sometimes even after a first phone call, people say, oh my gosh, Lisa, I feel so much better just knowing someone's out there. So they're already transforming themselves, their lives. And then we come and they say, well, I think I want everything. I don't know what to choose, right? You probably know this. Once you say, I don't know, you don't know. Like your brain cuts off. So I say, well, you called us. And if you did know, what do you think it would be? What do you think that first, we don't have to do your whole house in 3 hours or this room in 3 hours. What is one thing you don't want in your life and you don't want, in your space? And then they go to the second and they go to the third. And the transformation, I would say with most people, unless, it was just getting your car in your garage or, a move that's just a move. The people that really, I feel get impacted by what we do are the ones that afterwards look around and just feel lighter. Their space is lighter, literally, and they just feel like, okay, I can do this. I can do whatever comes my way. Now, I can't guarantee their house is never gonna get the way it was, but like Vince in the book, The Man Who Fried an Egg, I've spoken to him every once in a while. He read the story. I adapted and changed a lot, so it wasn't necessarily like his perfect story. But he said, I've gone back a little bit, but definitely not what it was. He hasn't relapsed. He sleeps upstairs now. There's things that he's changed. I think 8 months with a non-therapist and even working with a therapist isn't going to change your life. It's an everyday, it's maintenance. It's just like an alcoholic or whatever. You have to one day at a time, one day at a time and one step at a time. I often say with my clients, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. They're looking at this overwhelming task, even losing weight or quitting smoking, right? It's one day at a time. It's if you want to change, if you want that future self to be something different, it's one step at a time. And if you drink or if you go out and buy too many books or it's a trip, it's not a fall. Like just recognize it. I mean, that's like, just do it. Just get rid of it. Just don't buy it at the store. That's difficult, especially when you're in a spiral kind of brain sense or, the mental clutter and the stuff around you, life gets in the way, gets hard. So, I want people to just be nice to themselves. Yeah, you're in this situation. We all have our SHIT. I don't know if I can swear on your show, but we all have
I
it.
have had people do it. I just have to note it.
Right. So, but we all have it, right? And that's what I say to people also is, this is probably the worst you've ever seen. I said, no, it's not, but it's your worst. It's your bad. So let's start there. This is your situation. I'm not comparing you or I'm not thinking of anyone else. Why did you call me? Why do you need help? Yeah. So I think it's just the lightness and knowing they can do it. And hopefully we're mentoring them, right, with the little system. So when they can open a drawer or they bring something into the house, they can, if they don't see it and they don't need it, they can get rid of it, or give it to somebody else and donate it.
Yeah, but they share that with you, right? From your clients, they share that there's a lightness now. And how often do they call you back? Like, do you recommend working with you like a few times a year, or do people just do once? Like
that would be ideal. That would be ideal for some clients to have, just a half-year checkup.
Yeah.
We do emails and they're on our newsletter. So there's always a little something if they want us to send the emails. Some people call us back 3 years later. I mean, Sally she's worked with me for 7 years. She's been working with one client who I worked with probably 3 or 4 years before that. And Sally comes and visits her every 2 weeks. They tackle one area. Sometimes she just sits with her. She just, do a little work with her and then just sits and talks to her. And so it's very personal. It's very individual, who wants how many you want. I mean, I love maintenance programs. We have maintenance programs. So we get you to that ground zero almost. And because you have to get to that to figure out what the space is going to look like afterwards. A lot of people want to say, oh, should I buy bins and things to put on my shelf? And it's like, no, not yet. Not before we get there. Let's figure out what you're letting go and then design what you want the space to look, because we can reuse things if you've, gotten rid of things, or emptied bins, all those pretty bins that are labeled and all that. That would make me crazy. I need to see stuff. So everybody has their individual ways.
Yeah, interesting. Well, do you feel that anyone can become more organized?
I do. I think personally, and I might get some backlash for this, but I think everyone is organized
Mm.
in their own way. Some people are organized and it doesn't work for them, right? Because it's not the right system for them. Even hoarders are organized. They know where everything is. It's a lot, and they'll know if you moved it. They'll know if you moved it.
That's
So
interesting.
I believe everyone is, we couldn't live in life if we weren't organized, right? You don't have to have Pinterest perfect, rainbow books and, things like that. But everyone has the potential, if they want to be organized, if they want to change. But we wouldn't be able to get up in the morning, go to the bathroom, brush our teeth, right? We all have our own style. Is it working for you? That's the question.
I don't know why this is coming up, but have you ever heard of sometimes of people that have a perfectly organized house have something to hide? Like there's something, like what's going on? It's too perfect,
Right. Yeah,
Have you
I
ever
get
heard that?
uncomfortable in houses like that. I really do. Some of my friends do have, like, you're like, wow, this is like a model home. What's wrong? Like, what's wrong with you? Yeah, I've
Yeah.
said this a couple times that I feel like Joshua Becker. He's the minimalist. I love him. He's amazing. He
Does he have his own
endorsed my
show?
book.
The
Yeah,
Mills?
yeah, and
Okay.
he's written many books. And he and his family decided to be minimalists, and that's what he
Okay.
teaches. And it's not for everybody. It's definitely not for me. And not saying that he has nothing, or minimalists have nothing in their house that means something to them. They just have less of it. But the people that I've spoken to, I've worked with, they feel a control or a responsibility to keep stuff. I have one story in the book where this woman was a hoarder, and she said, after we had finished her room, she said she went upstairs and all her friends were gone. So there's a relationship you have to this pen, to this piece of paper, she had chicken bones in her dresser drawer, probably because she tried, or, bedside table, probably because she just pushed everything in when someone was coming, right? But when she said that, holy cannoli, that was like the intensity of that one line for me. They were all her friends and they were gone because they surrounded her, they protected her in some way. So we have a responsibility. We feel a responsibility. Now, my limited knowledge on minimalist and all this, I'm making a big, statement that's, it's specific, right? And not all hoarders feel like they're friends with all their clutter, right? But minimalists, maybe they don't want to have responsibility for anything. So the clearer their space, and it also is a lot cleaner. You don't have that eye craziness, that comes with having too much stuff. Like, I think interior designers or designers call it, we need white space. We need white space to just, our
Like
eyes
my
need to
background, my
rest.
virtual
Exactly.
Zen
Yeah. Well,
success.
you need, and we do. When I'm trying to focus, I can't have a whole lot of stuff in front of me. It's just, it's too much stimulus or stimuli. I don't know what the word. So yeah, that's it's kind of what I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm a spiritual person, and I was just curious if you feel that objects hold energy that can hold us back.
Yes, you need to read my book. I have to send it to
I
you.
know.
Yes, I work with a Reiki person. I work with, like, one of my best friends is very spiritual, and she totally believes, like, when you walk into someone's home and you're like, ooh, like, something's off. I'll go in people's homes and I'll be like, oh wow, I don't what is it, study that in myself, but I feel it. I know that it's there. I'm very, intuitive and sensitive. And then I'll go into a house and I'll be like, wow, this is, it's just, there's no stress. It's just kind of light feeling. But it's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like, what is it when it's familial, monetary, like when you pass money down, whatever. I think when you're passing, say this came from generational. Yeah, I think there's generational wealth, there's generational, you're passing things out, and trauma, all the others. So if this came from my great grandfather's farm, that has all his good energy, that has all my grandmother's energy, and passing it down. So hopefully it's good energy, right? But maybe it's not, maybe there's, people have lots of, or especially around here, I'm in Northern Virginia, and there's lots of farms and there's lots of families that have lived here for years. So when I go into houses, oh my gosh, I'm touching everything. Because I was like, who touched this? How many hundreds of years ago? I get so much energy from that, especially when something is built like from the family, like great grandfather, planted the tree that we cut down to make this table. I mean, boy, the energy in that, right? And the history of that must be incredible. My friend calls it, when you're holding on to all this emotional baggage with stuff, it's like walking around with a backpack full of rocks in your home, because it weighs you down. And most people, I again, with therapists, they say most people, so I used to be a personal trainer, fitness instructor.
Oh, me too. I did that in college. Yeah.
People hold on to weight to protect them. People hold on to stuff to protect them, to surround themselves, to comfort themselves, right? But really what it's doing is blocking them from the pain, but like they think it's blocking them from the pain, or being hurt, but really it's just isolating them and making them feel less than, is how I see it, so we hold on to stuff, we hold on to weight, we don't know where to start, we don't want to ask people for help because we're embarrassed, it's very similar. So yeah, I do believe that stuff has emotional baggage. I mean, it really does. And it depends on who's sitting on the chair and what you're thinking about. And yeah, I totally believe that. And houses too, big time. Because I walked into a house when we were looking for one that a young man, this is morbid, but young man strangled his dad. And just like in the last year or so, and we walked in the house, and I was kind of nervous about going in there because I'm like, oh God, what's it going to feel like? Didn't feel anything at all. So you think probably it was okay, like it was whatever you believe. And we live in there's a very old area. It's Leesburg, Virginia. And when I first went in there, a lot of the houses are 300 years old, 200 years old. I'm sure there was a person murdered in every old house there, yeah, I would think. I mean, because we're in a battlefield area where, there's a lot. So I'm just going on and on and on. Sorry. Because I could talk about this forever.
Oh, obviously. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Well, it's interesting. I mean, I'm psychic and I'm a medium, so I have cleared houses, entities of energies. But with bringing things into my own home, if they're older, I would say even just any used item, but I tend to clear the energy. I mean, I clear my own energy and protect it so that when I go into different places that I'm not affected as much. Right. But yeah, I was just curious of what you felt about different stuff holding on to energy. And yeah, you believe that.
Definitely.
And so how do people ingrain the habit of organizing into them if they don't have that habit already?
Right. Good question. I don't know the answer, but I think the more you do it, it's like working out. right? We're both fitness people. We're both, physical. If you don't, like, I had RSV for 8 weeks over Thanksgiving, Christmas, and into the new year. I think that's why we scheduled this later, because I think I was sick, but I didn't do anything. And granted, I was sick. I was really sick, but I missed like moving my body, right? So I think like if we do that ground zero, that, oh gosh, this feels really good. That doesn't mean everything's gone. It just means, okay, everything's in its place. I think hopefully people can get addicted to that feeling and want to keep it looking good. Now, it's not always going to look that way. When I'm busy, this space gets crazy cluttered, right? Because I don't have time to put it away. But it's not going to stay that way, and it'll take me 15 minutes, 20 minutes to put everything away.
Got it.
So like anything, it's like it's a day-to-day thing. If you're struggling and you're bringing too much in the house, you're not getting it out, or your kids stuff are still there, and it gets overwhelming. So I don't know the answer to that. I would hope that people enjoy it. They enjoy that clean feeling.
Yeah, they want to get back to that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how can disorganization affect your health?
Oh, golly. I've seen people breathe better, because if you're in a house, even with a little bit dust, papers and, just newspapers or clothing just stacked up, or even just a lot of stuff on the top of your kitchen cabinets or, bookshelves and things like that. Just the dust alone in houses like that. I prepare all my organizers. We all carry like our inhalers if we need them, or, allergy pills.
Oh, because of the
masks.
dust.
Yeah, because of the
Yeah.
dust. And if dogs or cats, and not every house is like dirty, but you never know what it's going to churn up if you're moving things, but we work with a lot of seniors aging in place, and also moving, because we're move managers, but they're aging in place and they come back from a hip surgery or whatever. We got to make sure we can move this, things around, or put things strategically so that they could walk through them, and things aren't going to fall on them when they're in the kitchen or, in the living room. I think mental health by far surpasses the physical health for the people we work with. And again, it's that I can do it. Wow, I did it. It wasn't as expensive. It didn't take as much time. Maybe it was a little emotional, but I made it through. And now look at my place. Most people say, I had no idea this is what my house looked like. We always do before after pictures.
Yeah.
Because people, you live in it.
Right.
You live
right.
in it,
Well, so that's so interesting. And do you have to be in person? Are your services in person only?
No, we do virtual for specific clients. None of our seniors, usually, because they need us to be there physically. I've worked with, young families, even teenagers. We can do that, and 20-year-olds. Just, it depends on what the job is, right? But you can hold something up and say, what do I do? And we usually just do a FaceTime, or, and they, I look at their space, they look at mine, or they see me.
Yeah. So you can video around the area. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So during COVID, we found out we can work pretty much worldwide.
Yeah.
Like a lot of companies. Yeah. But some of them, they do need us there. It's about the physical presence too. Sometimes.
Yeah, because it seems a little bit more motivating and you get the whole picture when you're in person. But do you have to travel much?
We try to travel within, I don't know, 30-mile, 40-mile range here. I am going to Norfolk, Virginia, which is about 4 hours away with a client. We've gone to New Jersey, me and one of my organizers, but that gets really expensive for the client. But if they want to pay for it, and because we've established this trust with them.
Yeah.
Not every client, but they don't want to work with somebody else that I can maybe connect them with, even though I trust them. But maybe 4 or 5 times I've traveled outside of Virginia in, 18, 20 years.
So, you say life is too short to surround yourself with stuff you don't like. So is it time to let go of the stuff you don't like?
Well, I try to do it all the time. I've
Mm.
jokingly, I've said this for years. I've been decluttering my friends for years. It's like if you don't,
People. Hmm.
people, yeah, it's like if you don't ring with me, if you don't connect with me, and there are people, we have things and people for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. That's my theory,
Mm.
and sometimes it's just, you just have to step away, give it away. I always tell this story about there's a spare bedroom right there. And I was sitting here at the desk a while back and I saw this little angel that was on the shelf. And I looked at it. I knew my mom gave it to me. She'd always buy me little angels. But I looked at it and I said, I don't know I was like talking to my mom. She's gone. I don't know when you gave this to me. It's beautiful. It's so cute, but it's just collecting dust in my house. So I put it in my box when I was donating things and I donated it. And I call that recycling the love because my mom gave it to me with such love and I loved it for a long time and it was there. But then I thought, I'm not loving it.
Yeah.
Someone else will buy it for their daughter or their girlfriend or their grandmother, and that person will love it. Right now it's just taking up space. So,
Yeah.
yes, I loved it. My mom gave it to me, but did it serve any purpose for me? And that's another thing we ask our clients. We keep things, therapists say this also, because they serve us in some way. And
Mm.
it's negative or positive. We hold on to a lot of stuff that doesn't serve us, and it's negative because sometimes we want to keep ourselves small, or we want to keep
Mm.
ourselves, I call it like sitting in our dirty diapers. I just want to feel sorry for myself for a little bit. So I'm going to think about, like, I'm going to cry with this rock. It
Mm.
serves a purpose. And sometimes that's okay. I like to cry every once in a while. Sometimes you just got to purge and let it out and do that. So
Yeah.
surround yourself, like life is too short. And I also work with older adults and I've done this, I can't even tell you how many times, where the spouse has passed away, the kids don't want anything, or they both passed away. They have no
Yeah.
kids, and I'm there in some stranger's house because they didn't surround themselves with stuff they love. They surrounded themselves with everything and never went through it. So I
Mm.
do a lot of workshops and a lot of Zoom calls and webinars about that, like talk to your parents now, or you do it yourself while you're still able, if you're 60 plus, while you're still able to make those decisions on where you want things to go or what you don't want, or
Mm.
what something meant to you and what child you want to give it to, or what nonprofit you want to leave things to.
Mhm.
Be able to make those decisions yourself, until
Mm.
someone else has to make them for you. And then you're not in control, right? It's not nice, not a good feeling. I've been there
Mm.
on, both sides with family and clients and friends. It's
Mm.
tough. Hmm.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean when you say it's not about your stuff?
The stuff about your stuff is not about your stuff, right?
Mm.
So the stuff we make up about
I
our
see.
stuff, physical and mental stuff, right? Well, I can't do that, or I'm not good enough, or what. It's not about the stuff. It's not about the thing you want or the thing you're doing or you organizing or whatever the reason. It's all mental. The stuff about your stuff is not about your stuff. It's about your stuff. It's about those reasons you're holding on. It's serving you again. It's serving you in some way why you can't get rid of it, or you can't quit smoking, or you can't get that job, or you can't ask that girl out, or whatever, even if it's a good thing, right? The stuff about your stuff is not about your stuff. It's about what you're making up, what stories you're
Mm.
telling yourself about that.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it cool? I started saying that a couple years ago and I was like, wow, that really makes a lot of sense. I was very proud of myself.
Oh, yeah, good job.
Mhm.
What is Zen success to you? Since this is the name of my show, what does it
Mm.
mean to you?
To me personally or my clients?
You. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I'm laughing.
Okay. No,
You
no, it's
don't,
okay.
yeah, to you.
Okay. Well, I think when you're honest to yourself, you're honest with yourself. And I haven't always been honest with myself. I keep, we all keep secrets from ourselves. When you really sit down and say, this is who I am, this is what I am, these are my flaws, these are my things I want to work on, or whatever. And I think that for me, that whole heart, whole life feeling, I think as I get older, it gets easier, right? When you're younger, I was always trying to be something next or something better or something different than I am. And now I'm like, oh, I'll be 58. This is me. So I think for me, Zen means that to me. It's acceptance. And when you accept, I was going to say you can't be anything but successful, but that's probably not true. Because some people can accept and still don't feel successful. They kind of feel bad about themselves. Well, that's just the way I am, So, but for me, I think that's what it is. It's really finding me and not being afraid of me anymore. I was very afraid and this sounds even to write a book. Like, I didn't want to write a book. It just kind of happened. And I've kind of gone through my life with things just happening. I mean, I've put things out and I've done things, but the best things kind of just happen. And the fact that it went #1 in 11 categories a year ago, actually today, that's right. It was a year ago today.
Oh my gosh, congrats.
I think I wrote that in an
That's
email
amazing.
to you. Yeah, it like that blows me away. And the things that people are saying about the book, the things that people are learning is exactly what I wanted people to feel. Like, just not feel alone in whatever decisions you're trying to make. I wrote a book. Everybody feels this way. Like, I probably could write another one with more reasons why people hold on to stuff. So that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting back from that. And I could have never accepted that, gosh, I actually wrote a really good book, with a lot of help, but I actually got a really good book out there. I remember when it came out, because it was a lot of work. Like the last month was hard, the last 2, and then the last 6, because it was very hard on me because I was going through a lot of my own stories. So I changed, I think, through the writing of my book, thanks to my my editor with me. She was so wonderful. And so I lost my train of thought.
Yes. Well, you were just
remember.
talking about Zen success.
Yes.
And
well,
what
just
that
feeling, I think just being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
That's success for me. And that's, just being who you are. Just being who you are.
Wonderful.
And accepting. Right?
Well, it's been such a pleasure having you on my show and hearing about how you help people stay decluttered. And I'll put your website and how to buy your #1 best-selling book, 17 Spatulas and the Man Who Fried an Egg. Yeah. So thanks for being here on my show today, Lisa.
Thank you. It's been really wonderful. Really wonderful. Thank you.
My pleasure.
That's it for today's episode of Zen Success. Head on over to iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show and share with friends. Be sure to head on over to ZenSuccessShow.com to help you on your Zen success journey. And join us on the next episode. May you find your own Zen success in life.